U.S. trade delegation arriving for trade talks with China. Eamon Javers joins us now. I got some of your photos that you sent out. I think we're actually going to show. So you're doing well. You've got an eye. You've got an eye for it. There's.
You know, I'm traveling with an expert cameraman here, Joe, and he's giving me a lot of advice on lighting and cropping and that kind of thing.
Do the meatballs look like? Do they look different? They're kind of pale, aren't they? They're not very appetizing, are they?
No, the meatballs here were meatball-colored meatballs, but they were smaller than I was expecting. They were like the size of a dime. Came in a very heavy sauce and with some very heavy potatoes with them. It was very filling. I enjoyed them a lot, but you don't need to eat for like a day and a half after you eat those.
Okay. Should we have waited to the end to talk about what can you tell us? And then we won't have to talk about
what you guys have seen, right? Yeah, what we know is what you guys have seen. We saw the Chinese delegation, the Vice Premier He Lifeng arriving, and then just moments after that, we saw Treasury Secretary Bessent arrive. We saw a lengthy greeting with the Prime Minister of Sweden as Secretary Bessent shook his hand and had some conversation for a few moments out on the street. And then all sides proceeded indoors. They're here at the Prime Minister's residence in Sweden. And the idea is they're going to spend about 2 days behind the scenes. What they're going to come up with, we don't know. We saw Jameson Greer, the U.S. trade representative, on television earlier today, really lowering expectations for these trade talks today, saying maybe they can get an extension of that August 12th deadline. And that seems to be sort of like the bar for these talks right now, is if they can get that extension, that'll be seen as at least a base hit for these talks, and then maybe set up some talks later in the fall between Xi Jinping and President Trump, Joe.
Yeah, it's coming fast and furious, though, after, Japan last week and then in the EU, it would be, I don't know whether it's more likely or less likely with the pace that things are happening.
It's a really good question, right? To what extent does that EU deal yesterday influence what's going on here in Sweden with the Chinese today? You've got to think that the economies of the U.S. and China are so big, and this set of talks is on its own trajectory, that it's kind of got its own momentum. But everybody here is aware of what happened yesterday in Scotland. So clearly, people are paying attention. For the Chinese perspective, this is transformational for their economy. And so I think they'll proceed very cautiously here. And no one is bracing for any major breakthroughs today or tomorrow. But we're here on the scene. If they get a breakthrough, we'll let you know.
Yeah. I was struck. Those communists drive some nice cars. That was one of the things that I noticed, Eamon. I don't know whether you...
I think they're driving the cars on the street.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. I mean, they're not in. They weren't in a bunch of Gremlins and Vegas and stuff like, a bunch of Compa. Some pretty nice metal.
All the Swedish officials appear to be driving Volvos, and I think, isn't Volvo owned by the Chinese now too?
Oh, isn't it? Yeah. What about Saab? It's owned by.
I thought I saw some Beamers and Mercedes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're all entitled to drive nice cars.
I'll keep my eyes out.
I'm not going to hold it against them.